What if the most dangerous person in the room isn't the stranger lurking in the shadows, but the woman who has spent her entire life perfecting the art of being exactly what everyone needs her to be? In The Good Girl, Michelle Dunne delivers a psychological thriller that weaponizes compliance into suspense, proving that in lives built on performance, the most terrifying act is not violence, it's the moment the mask finally slips. This isn't merely another domestic noir with unreliable narrators. It's a claustrophobic, emotionally precise descent into the architecture of female obedience, where every polite smile carries the weight of suppressed rage, and every yes echoes like a locked door. From the first hushed narration, listeners are trapped in a world where goodness is a cage and perfection is the ultimate alibi, making every moment of stillness feel both sanctuary and threat. Perfect for fans of character-driven suspense and stories where the real monster is systemic expectation, this audiobook serves up relentless tension, unflinching emotional honesty, and a protagonist whose journey from invisible daughter to sovereign self resonates with anyone who's ever been praised for disappearing. When model daughter Alara Vance returns to her affluent hometown after her mother's sudden death, she expects grief, not to discover that her lifelong role as the good girl was meticulously curated to conceal a family secret that could unravel their entire community. But as Alara navigates funeral receptions and whispered judgments, she realizes this inheritance isn't about mourning, it's about exposure. Dunne masterfully avoids reducing Alara to victim or villain. Instead, she crafts a narrative where morality is situational rather than absolute, where consent is renegotiated through silence rather than speech, and where liberation requires embracing the parts of herself that were deemed unacceptable. The audiobook narration amplifies the psychological vertigo, capturing Alara's polished composure fracturing into raw clarity, while secondary voices shift subtly between admiration and suspicion, making every condolation feel both comfort and interrogation. You don't just hear the mystery unfold, you feel the seismic shift of a woman learning that being good was never about virtue, but about survival. What elevates The Good Girl beyond typical domestic thrillers is its nuanced portrayal of feminine compliance as systemic conditioning rather than personal failing. Alara isn't merely uncovering crimes, she's confronting how generations of women were taught to equate safety with invisibility, challenging the notion that worth requires erasure. Her relationships evolve through acts of radical reciprocity, sharing truths with childhood friends whose loyalty masks complicity, setting boundaries that protect both reputation and reckoning, and defending her right to complexity against communities that mistake consistency for character. Supporting characters add vital texture, fathers whose pride reflects ownership, mothers whose silence speaks volumes about sacrifice, even the suburban landscape itself rendered as gilded prison whose manicured lawns absorb decades of unspoken pain. Every interaction reinforces the novel's core truth. In worlds built on performance, authenticity is insurgency, and presence is the only true rebellion. Even the thriller mechanics serve thematic depth, with social rituals mirroring emotional containment and polite conversation becoming metaphor for coded confession. For audiobook listeners, this production is an immersive sensory descent into elegant dread. The narrator embodies Alara's evolution with remarkable range, from rehearsed grace to trembling defiance, while supporting characters are distinguished through focal textures that hint at hidden agendas without telegraphing twists. Sound design enhances atmosphere without overwhelming intimacy. Distant church bells marking temporal anchors, rain against pristine windows during vulnerable confessions, the hushed rustle of silk sinking with breath during moments of rupture, all anchor psychological stakes in tangible reality. Pacing mirrors the rhythm of repression and release, deliberate during reflection and social navigation, then surging with urgency as external pressures collide with internal awakening. Whether you are commuting through daily routines or lying awake in darkness, the audiobook creates a portable pressure cooker where isolation feels absolute and agency feels a lifeline. Its storytelling is embodied validation, transforming passive listening into active participation in a journey where justice isn't about punishment, but about reclamation. Ultimately, The Good Girl redefines psychological suspense by centering female epistemology within domestic frameworks. It satisfies genre cravings for shocking reveals and relentless pacing, while delivering substantive commentary on patriarchal aesthetics, intergenerational trauma, and the radical act of trusting your own perception when systems are designed to obscure it. No prior series knowledge is needed. It stands confidently as a complete emotional odyssey. If you've ever wondered whether peace can coexist with truth, or if true strength requires shedding the persona that kept you safe, this audiobook will affirm that sometimes the most powerful act is refusing to be good anymore. Press play, step out of the frame, and prepare to believe that even in landscapes shaped by expectation, hearts still find ways to beat outside the script. Your next favorite thriller isn't waiting in external villains, it's waiting in the brave, trembling choice to stop performing and start living.